Class, welcome to the next video, review video number 2, variable expressions. What I really want you to take home and just think about right now is that this stuff is going to be really similar to what we just did in the last video. Okay? The only difference is now you're going to have a variable and you're going to have just a little bit of work to do before you can evaluate. Okay? So very first thing, we need to remember and understand our different operations. Okay, when we have a variable, we can still perform operations on them. So x, well, plus 3, right? So the operation is addition. We're adding 3 to the variable. 7 minus b, well, we're subtracting, or there's subtraction occurring. All right, how about 8y? When you do not have any operation or symbol between a number and a variable, we understand and hopefully remember that that means it's multiplication. And then lastly, you can call it a fraction bar, you can call it over, but we're going to say that this is going to be division. This is a variable divided by 3, so division. Okay? So really, guys, what we were doing with this stuff is we're going to evaluate the expression, similar to what we just did, when we know the value of the variable. Okay? So, when we look at something like number 1, or this first box, we have 15q. Well, what am I going to do? The very first thing you need to do, alright, I'm going to write some steps. Substitute value for the variable, and then 2 is evaluate. Alright, so again, we just did step 2 over and over and over again in the last video. It's really just the first one that we need to practice, or this first step that we need to practice. Alright, so let's do that. Let's see, okay, so 15q, remember what's going on between 15 and q? It's multiplication. One other thing you can always do is you can always just replace the variable with a set of parentheses and then plug in or substitute the value. So 15 times 3, 15 times 3, 45. Alright? Now, I'm not going to write this each time. You can go back to this, and hopefully you understand that I'm going to start by writing out my expression, but I replace my variable with a set of parentheses, and then I plug in or substitute the value. So 30 minus 16. Guys, go ahead, use your calculator to be safe. You can use your calculator on the entire test. 14. Not that bad, right? Not that bad. Okay. So we move on. It gets a little tougher, but it's not too bad, all right? Again, I'm going to replace my variable with a set of parentheses, and then I plug in or substitute that value. So I have 7 being raised to the 3rd power. So 7 to the 3rd power, 343. Alright, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Okay, this is getting a little tougher just because there's more parts to it, but it's not that bad. Again, I'm going to rewrite, and all I'm going to do is replace my variable with the value that I know. Okay, I know a is 6. Sorry guys, that kind of looks like a b. That is a 6. Alright, now this is slightly more difficult, right? Because now I have a lot more stuff going on. What I want you to understand, and I've said it a couple of times now though, this is no different than what we did in the last video. You still need to follow your order of operations. Okay, we still follow the order of operations. So I look. Well, I don't have anything inside the parentheses to do. Okay, so I don't really have anything for the letter P, but I do have exponents, so I need to do that first, which means I need to take care of this piece before I do anything else. So I'm going to rewrite 7 plus 3, and then I need to figure out what 6 squared is. So I'm going to come over here. 6 squared is 36. Okay, we see how this is going? I sure hope so, because it's the same thing from the last video. 7 plus 3 times 36, well, we know what comes first. Multiplication comes first. So I need to do this before I take care of the addition. So when I do 3 times 36, I get 108. Oh, I'm running out of room here. But now that we just have one more operation, I can just add 7, so plus 7, and I get a nice number, 115. All right, I hope we're doing okay with this. A few more problems, nothing too crazy. Let's take a look. All right, so 30 minus 24 over b, or 24 divided by b. Let's rewrite exactly how it looks, but replace the variable with the value. So I'm going to put my parentheses there and then understand what? That I'm replacing b with a 6. All right, now let's take a look here. This looks like I have some subtraction, but I also, even though a lot of the times we consider this a fraction, we know that this is also division. Yep, I heard you guys say it. This is division. So we need to make sure that we do the division before the subtraction. So I'm going to take care of this piece first. 30 minus, and when I go to the calculator, notice that even though like I'm a math teacher, I'm still kind of using the calculator just because I want to make sure I'm right. Guys, use the calculator. It's there for you to use. Please, 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 please. I don't want silly mistakes on our final. So 30 minus 4, that's great. We know how to do this. We just do 30 minus 4, and we are good with our value of 26. All right. We are getting there. 2 more. Here we go. 3 plus, I'm going to put in my parentheses. Ooh, lots of parentheses here. Now, there's so many parentheses in this, but really, guys, is there anything to do inside of the parentheses? No, so we're really okay here. This is really just a bunch of addition, addition, addition. All right, so when I have addition and addition and addition, do I just pick any two? No, it's better to kind of follow a pattern, follow a rule, something that we know will always work. So what we say is we always go left to right. So I'm going to take care of these two values first, or this first addition, and I do 3 plus negative 4, and I get negative 1. So now I can replace with negative 1, and then I'm going to rewrite the rest of my problem. And then once again, I'm going to go left to right. So I'm going to take a look at the negative 1 and the negative 5. So negative 1 plus negative 5 gets me negative 6. So now I have negative 6 plus negative 2. Ooh, this is it, right? We only have one more operation. Negative 6 plus negative 2, negative 8. And that is the value of this variable expression when x equals negative 4. All right, we're going to finish with something. I don't want you to think that this is super crazy or anything. It's just the same thing, but with multiple variables, okay? And this is doable. You guys can do this. Again, I need to replace my variables with the values we have for them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some parentheses everywhere where I saw a variable. Okay, now that might be confusing, but look back between this and my new line. I should be able to figure out what numbers go where. Because if this 2 is being multiplied by x, well then I need to multiply this 2 by my x value, which is 3. Then minus 7y. Well, I need to plug y in, right here, and I know y is 4, so I'm going to put 4 there. And then here was another x, so that's why I'm going to put a 3 in that set of parentheses. Now, this goes back to, like, just circle it so you guys know. PEMDAS, 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 okay? We need to follow PEMDAS. And I look, ooh, no parentheses. There are parentheses, but remember, there's nothing to do inside of the parentheses, okay? So then we move on to exponents, and I see some exponents. So that's what I'm going to take care of first. And I'm going to leave everything else the same. 3 squared, or 3 to the second power. Hopefully you guys know this one. 9. Now, it turns into multiplication and addition and subtraction and whatnot, okay? So please remember that we need to go multiplication first. And I see this 2 times 3, so that's what I'm going to do. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 minus 7 times 4 plus 9. Okay, who can tell me what's my next step? What am I doing next? Yep, there's more multiplication to do. So I'm going to do 7 times 4. 6 minus 7 times 4 is 28. And plus 9. Okay. When you have addition and subtraction in the same line, and that's really all that's left here, remember, we go left to right. I feel like I'm just repeating myself over and over again, but maybe you guys will remember it. We need to go left to right. So, 6 minus 28 is negative 22. And when we take negative 22 and add 9, we get negative 13. And that is the value of this variable expression. Alright, so that was a review on variable expressions. I will see you in a little bit for our next video.